But Canada doesn't live because of the United States. Canada thrives because we are Canadian.
This Mark Carney line right here, Canada doesn't live because of the United States, Canada thrives because we are Canadian, is honestly one of the best comebacks we've seen from a world leader in a long time. No shouting, no drama, just a man standing on a stage boldly calling out Trump without even needing to say his name. And that's what makes it hit so different. Trump has been running this line for months now, this idea that Canada only survives because America lets it, like the whole country is just riding on America's coattails. It's meant to sting, meant to shrink Canada down in front of the whole world. And Carney didn't flinch. He didn't clap back with insults. He just corrected the record in real time, calmly, confidently, and honestly, devastatingly. Before we continue with the video, please help us grow by subscribing. Thank you. Now let's watch.
I said we had to do two things. The first is to be a bastion. The second is to be a beacon, an example to a world that's at sea. In a time of rising populism and ethnic nationalism, Canada can show how diversity is a strength, not a weakness. In a time of democratic decline, we can show how rights can be protected and equal freedoms endure. And in a time of rising walls and thickening borders, we can demonstrate how a country can be both open and secure, welcoming and strong, principled and powerful.
Because think about what he actually said after that line. He didn't stop at defending Canada, he went further and painted a picture of what Canada actually stands for. He called it a beacon, a country that can prove diversity is strength, not weakness, in a moment where a lot of the world is leaning into division. He talked about showing that a nation can be open and secure at the same time, welcoming and strong at the same time. That's not just patriotism for the sake of it, that's a direct challenge to the kind of politics Trump represents. The walls, the fear, the us versus them mentality.
There are literally billions of people who aspire to what we have built. A pluralistic society that works, a public square that's loud, diverse, and free, an economy that delivers broadly shared prosperity, a democracy that chooses to protect the most vulnerable against the powerful. Now, Canada can't solve all the world's problems, but we can show that another way is possible, that the arc of history isn't destined to be warped towards authoritarianism and exclusion. It can still bend towards progress and justice.
Carney basically stood there and said, "We're choosing a different path, and we're not asking permission to do it." And what really sells it is that he backed it up with substance, not just pride. He brought up the interprovincial trade barriers Canada has already knocked down. A dozen new economic and security partnerships built across 4 continents in just 6 months. Defense spending doubling by the end of the decade. Real investment going into AI, quantum, cyber, critical minerals.
In this time of great consequence, we are choosing. We are choosing to work together to build one Canadian economy. We've made great progress over the past year. Now we have to redouble our efforts with the provinces and territories. We're choosing to find new markets and develop new partnerships. We've announced a dozen new economic and security partnerships across 4 continents in the last 6 months. More will come, all will deepen. We choose to build in solidarity with Canadian workers, creating hundreds of thousands of good-paying union jobs and investing in apprenticeships and skills training so that young Canadians can have the careers of tomorrow. What makes Canada a great country? It's a great country for everyone. It's the greatest country in the world to be a regular person. You don't have to be born rich or to a landed family here. You don't have to be a certain color or worship a certain God. Canadians believe in the value of every other Canadian, their boundless potential to make this great country even better. Our ancestors, despite their differences, believed in each other and in us. Now, there are long periods of history where these values can prosper unchallenged. Ours is not one of them. Our values must be fought for. Canadians are inclusive. We know our country is stronger when everyone belongs, when newcomers are welcome, when minorities are protected, when Indigenous peoples are true partners. That commitment to inclusion was institutionalized, first in the Bill of Rights and then embedded in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It was manifest in our adoption of multiculturalism, first as policy and then as law. Canada is an ambitious nation of builders and explorers. We mapped this continent before the Americans had even left St. Louis. We built a transcontinental railway in 5 years, the St. Lawrence Seaway in 4. We created a healthcare system that became a model for the world. This government, Canada's new government, shares that ambition. We've already removed all federal barriers to interprovincial trade, and we're catalyzing hundreds of billions of dollars of investments in nation-building projects. We're doubling our defense spending by the end of this decade. And we're working to ensure that core Canadian capabilities, including in AI, in quantum, in cyber, and critical minerals, will maximize the economic benefit for Canadians of these new security imperatives. Now we need to execute fairly and fast. We choose to build a bright future worthy of the ground on which we stand. We choose Canada. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
This wasn't just a speech meant to sound good in a headline. This was a leader showing his work. But honestly, the line that gets me the most is when he said, "Canada is the greatest country in the world to just be a regular person. You don't need to be born rich. You don't need the right last name, the right background, the right God." That's the kind of thing that only means something when the person saying it is willing to defend it out loud, especially with someone as loud as Trump trying to say otherwise. So yeah, say what you want about the politics, but that line is going to stick around. It wasn't just a defense of Canada, it was a reminder that respect isn't something you inherit from a bigger neighbor, it's something you build for yourself. And Mark Carney just showed the whole world exactly how that's done.